What's going on, everybody? Hey, this is Coulton Woods, and you are listening to another episode of Learning from the Experts. And today, I actually want to respond to one of the reviews that was left on my podcast in iTunes. Someone asked a question on there, and I thought I'd respond. So here's the deal. I know how frustrating it is as an entrepreneur to waste countless hours sifting through wannabe experts who never actually helped me in the end. Then to learn years later that there was an expert who really could help me 100 times faster than learning it on my own. I have created this podcast to save you time and money while taking you on a journey with me as I learn from and interview real experts who can actually help you grow your business. My name is Coulton Woods, and you're listening to Learning from the Experts. Hey, so if you actually go look at one of the reviews on Learning from the Experts, one of them is by Little Pig 177. Just wanted to give you a quick shout out and say thanks for the review, and thanks for asking a question there too. So you asked the question and said, maybe for an episode idea, you could talk about how successful people have tried and fail, and how it's okay to fail as long as you keep trying until you've reached your goals and beyond. That's actually a really great question, and something that needs to be addressed, because so many people are afraid of failure and don't even start in their business or don't even get going because of the fear of failure. So actually talking back when I was running my repair store, I learned a lot from failure on that one. I essentially just took the bull by the horns and got started in the repair business without even really knowing anything about it. I just started, and I literally, every time I failed, I literally had to find the solution myself. And I didn't even know that there was that problem or that issue until I had failed at it. And then would come up with would Google the solution for it. And because I had failed and gone through that experience and then found the solution, I learned from it that much better and that much quicker. But what's really interesting is I had no idea how to run a business. I had no idea how to fix phones. I had no idea how to even, do the whole brick and mortar thing until I just kind of got started. And as I overcame one obstacle or one failure, I knew how to adjust for that in the future and not make the same failure. So I continually had failure after failure until I had less, because I knew certain things that I could do to correct my path or correct what I was doing, so I wouldn't have that failure again. But I'll tell you what's interesting. A quote by Robert Herjavec, so one of the sharks on Shark Tank, says, "Experience is your most valuable asset." Which is actually kind of interesting if you think about it. Experience is your most valuable asset. Now, if you think about that, how do you gain experience? Obviously by doing something, by getting started, by just trying it out. You can't gain experience by just like reading about something. It's kind of interesting. If you think about like a marathon, you have to have a lot of experience behind you in running before you can accomplish a marathon. You can't sit on your butt, watch TV, and learn about how to run a marathon the best way, and do nothing and then expect to be able to go and run the marathon. You have to have experience, and you have to be doing things that are going to give you that experience that you need in order to be able to accomplish the marathon. So it's interesting to me that people think that they can learn all of this stuff and just spend their time learning, and that is the experience they need in order to be successful. Another interesting thought to me too, actually, that just comes to mind is if you look at people who are successful, you typically look at them and say, oh, well, they're successful because of X, Y, and Z, and I can never do that because I don't have X, Y, and Z. What's interesting to me is are we born successful? Is anybody born successful? Nobody's born successful. Nobody's born with just the genius of knowing everything that they know. It's not until they go through the experiences that they do in order to get to where they're at. Nobody is born with a following either. Unless you're like the son of a king, or something that obviously has a huge following or whatever it may be already, but you still have to gain the following for yourself. So it's interesting to me that people look at these big successful people and say, oh, well, they are just successful because of they were given that stuff, or they just got lucky, whatever it may be. When in reality, it's because they literally just started doing and started going. And as they would gain experiences and fail, they would overcome those failures and gain more experience and become better at what they're doing. And if they hadn't had the experiences that they had, if they hadn't just started, they wouldn't be where they're at now. So yeah, it's interesting to me that people think that you can just learn your way to success, and that actually doesn't quite work. Back in school, so when I was going to college, I remember taking an entrepreneur class, and this is while I was running my business already and being successful in it. And the teacher would be teaching certain things, and students wouldn't understand it in the least bit. It just didn't make any sense to them. And to me, having had experience already, even though I didn't know exactly what maybe some terms were for what I had been doing, having the experience already, I knew exactly what he was talking about, and it made sense to me. Now, I can tell you right now, if I hadn't had those experiences, or if I hadn't been already doing something that I could tie what I was learning to the experience, I would not have been able to learn it as much as I was. I wouldn't have internalized it. I would have literally listened to the teacher, said, okay, yeah, that makes sense, and then forgot about it because I hadn't actually experienced it. I hadn't actually done it. So that happens to a lot of us, but the best thing you can do is fail, and fail fast. You don't want to fail slow, because that means you're going to be taking more time to be learning the things you need to in order to become better at what you're doing. So fail fast, and get pushing towards it. Hopefully that helps you guys today. I know it's a little bit of a shorter one, but I'm trying to be a little better at making them a little bit shorter instead of these longer ones. But that's kind of the message, the theme that I wanted to talk about today. And honestly, failure is so essential to becoming successful. If you don't even start, you don't have the option to fail, which means you don't have the option to become successful. So yeah, there it is for you. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And if you have any reviews or questions, please leave a rating on the iTunes podcast. I'm on SoundCloud as well, if you want to go there. Google Play, different places. Please feel free to leave some ratings, reviews, and if you got any questions, go ahead and throw them on there too. That would be awesome. Thank you very much for listening.
Are you looking to jumpstart your business by learning or getting help from the real experts? Go to learningfromtheexperts.com to find pre-approved experts that I've handpicked for you. Please don't forget to let me know how I'm doing by subscribing, rating, and leaving feedback.